Hi there, friends. I'll come in here with a quick note to let you know that the first global Product Owner Summit organized by the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is coming soon. To know more, check out the bit.ly/Product Owner 2023. That's bit.ly/Product Owner 2023. That's all one word, all lowercase. And stick around to the end of the episode to know more. But for now, on to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Success Thursday. This week we have with us Mike Salogub. Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
Hi, Vasco. Glad to be back.
Absolutely. So Thursday is Success Day here on the podcast. One might say the question of the week. But before we dive into that, we do want to know, what's your favorite retrospective format and why?
Ooh, my favorite is Sailboat. I don't know if anyone knows Sailboat. Some might see it as hot air balloon, but it's very simple. It's basically a boat on the ocean. What are the reefs or the risks that would hold the boat down, that would break up the boat? The anchor, which holds the boat in place and prevents us from going forward. The sunshine, the wind at our back, which is helping us get through and propelling us and the momentum for the team, as well as the land ahead. What is our goal? And sometimes with my teams, I like to switch it up, whether it's Sailboat or the hot air balloon, just to keep it fresh.
And usually when you think about this type of retrospectives, so the Sailboat, hot air balloon, some might use like the race car or a trip to a mountain, whatever that might be, like this kind of metaphor-based retrospectives. When you think about that, what do you think makes them so powerful in your experience?
It's the visualization. When you could see and you can understand wholly, like what's the wind in our sails, what's propelling us forward, or what is the risk underneath the water that we can't see. And like when they hear these, oh, it's a reef, it's under the water, we can't see it. Oh, that's what you mean by risks. Or what's the anchor, what's holding us in place? Oh, it's, what's stopping us from going forward? It's those visual elements that help team members really see that in their mind's eye of how to start the conversation, at least. Because all these are in conversation starters, because the best part of a retrospective is when you build on that and you get momentum from one person who barely talks, and then they bring up that idea, and to corral those ideas together, these are just visual elements to help feed that fire of conversation.
And what's your experience with preparing teams for this? Because one of the things you already alluded to is that engineers are normally very concrete thinkers. And it might be hard for them to get used to the idea of having a metaphor. Kind of, maybe some people might say something like, this is too fluffy for me.
Yeah.
I've heard people saying this is like bike shedding. Bike shedding is a British expression which basically means spending time without doing anything. And of course, so there is a challenge, right, with making this metaphor-based retrospective formats understood and accepted by the engineers we work with. In your experience and through your career, what have you seen that helps the engineers understand that this is actually gonna make them better at discussing the real problems? So not abstract problems, but the real problems they are facing.
Yeah, so as a Scrum Master, you have to know your team. You have to know the team members. You have to really find out what makes them click, what motivates them. And you have to leverage those who don't really talk in these meetings, and you have to find what makes them tick and what starts that fire within them to discuss these things. That and only that will show them, oh yeah, you know what? That was actually good. I'm glad I got that off my chest. Because that's what the retrospective is the time for everyone to bring their cards to the table and say, Vasco, I didn't like how you treated me in that meeting, or I don't like how you downplayed that, or hey, I loved how you gave me credit. Thank you so much. So finding those the introverts that don't really find the appreciation in group discussions, having them be incorporated and roped in is definitely something to focus on. But in the same vein, you have to make sure those who talk too much, that they don't overburden the conversation. So you have to make sure that you have your stoppages in place to kind of corral that and bring that conversation back to focus on the main big elements for that week. And that a Scrum Master should have a good retrospective goals in mind. That when you're having your one-on-ones with your team members, when you're talking with them, whether it's grabbing coffee in the morning before stand-up or listening to them, to hear, like, if one developer has the same problem sprint after sprint but doesn't bring it up in the retro, maybe that's your chance to bring that up in there and just say, hey, something I've observed, blah, blah, blah. So that starts the conversation without pinpointing, hey, Vasco, would you like to start it? And when it's an uncomfortable topic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important to use these methods or retro formats also as helpers for us as Scrum Masters to kind of guide the conversation. So, of course, we do these retros because we want to help teams succeed, and hopefully that means that we are also successful. So, in your mind, Mike, how do you look at yourself and at your role as Scrum Master, and how do you define success for yourself?
Yeah, so I have an unorthodox way of looking at it, and my method and my metric for success is basically how well does the team do when I'm not there? If I won the lotto tomorrow and quit, will this team still hit their sprint goals? Will they still self-organize and meet for sprint planning? Can I get fired tomorrow and this team will still be as successful as it is? Because if I'm the success metric in the team and they don't move without me, then how successful is it really, right? If they're self-organizing and they come up with sprint goals and I am just now a facilitator, I'm better suited with other teams that need them to help get corralled in and become a better team. So my success metric is when I go on vacation, am I hearing, oh my goodness, thank God you're back. Oh my goodness, we couldn't, our board is a mess, rally is a mess, oh my goodness. Or is it, hey, Mike's back. Okay, Mike, share screen. So that kind of rings my ears to go to my bosses and say, hey, you know what? This team is a really high functioning team. Do you have a lower functioning team that my services can be better at? And then every PI kind of churning and jumping to new teams.
When you look at the teams that you work with, we need to prepare for that because teams don't go from not owning their work to owning their work, not hosting their own retros to hosting their own retros. They don't do that in just one day or one sprint, right? It takes time to get there. So what are the things you're looking at as a Scrum Master on a regular basis to keep yourself honest and really answer the question, am I helping this team to be more self-organizing and to be productive and effective when I'm not there?
Yeah, so in that meantime, when you go from brand new team to switching teams, is you can see how much you're talking in meetings versus how less you're talking in meetings. So if I'm a good facilitator brings up those conversations, brings up those topics, and then the team will pick up on it. Are you, as a Scrum Master, constantly asking people in stand-up, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any comments? Does anyone want to bring up anything? And it's kind of just crickets and no one's saying anything. Well, then there's a problem there and your team's not as healthy as it should be. And in that same vein, is one person taking the conversation and the other teams aren't. You want a healthy mix of conversation in there. Some Scrum Masters might look at velocity and they'll look at capacity and look at all this work. And at the ultimate, every team should be looking at their value that they're bringing to their customers or patients. But from a team standpoint, I want junior developers to grow into, a whole better versions of themselves. I mean, I want to help each individual team member hit their own ambitions as well as team collective goals per sprint. And I want to look back at each PI when we do a PI retrospective and say, all right, well, this was our velocity. We can say all what we want about these metrics, but is this person growing as an individual or an employee or individual contributor? Sorry. Or are they just stagnant and the same person PI after PI?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the potential that people are able to express is a great way for us to understand, am I bringing value to these people? Not just the team as a whole, obviously that's part of it, but also am I bringing value to these people in terms of, for example, helping them to believe more in themselves, helping them to take actions to better themselves, whatever that might be, learning how to facilitate retros. That might be a nice challenge that a team member wants to take, or learning a new programming language, or going to a test conference, or whatever that might be, right?
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. The people are also in our success lens as Scrum Masters. Thank you for sharing that, Mike.
No problem. Glad to help.
Hi there, Agile friends. Thank you for sticking around. This year's first global summit dedicated to the product owner role in Scrum will have some amazing keynotes and 2 tracks filled with first-hand stories and experiences for product owners to learn more about that critical Scrum role. We'll have Roman Pichler, author and product expert, who'll be answering your questions and sharing the most important aspects of the product owner role. We'll also have Colleen Johnson talking about why roadmaps are probably making your life much harder than it needs to be, and what to do instead. This talk was quite a success in Agile Online Summit 2022, and Colleen has learned some new tricks, tools, techniques that she will share with us when it comes to roadmaps for the product owner role. And we will also have Henrik Nyberg, author of Scrum and Kanban from the Trenches, as well as one of the creators of the Spotify model. So come in and listen to his stories. And we'll also have, of course, 2 tracks with many more sessions and even some live sessions. The 2 tracks will cover practices every product owner should know, where we'll be hosting conversations on topics that product owners need to be familiar with, like product backlog refinement, planning, and much more. The second track will be on metrics, measuring product and personal success as a product owner. As product owners, it's crucial to have a clear understanding of what are the metrics that drive success for us, and of course also for the products and businesses that we work with. And we need to continuously measure and optimize those metrics. So in this track, we'll be sharing what's working and what's not in the area of measuring success for product owners. We will also have the opportunity to network with our peers. It's a network event, of course, so get your tickets and join our Slack. Go to bit.ly/product owner 2023. That's all one word, all lowercase. As always, we will have free tickets and VIP tickets, which will give you long-term access to the content of this summit. So check them out at bit.ly/product owner 2023. All lowercase, all one word. I'll see you on the summit floor. Part of a successful Scrum Master job is to help the product owner. Tomorrow we explore that critical role in Scrum, the product owner role. Tune in to learn about product owner anti-patterns, what you can do to help the product owner, and a real-life example of what a great product owner is and what made it so. Tomorrow on our Friday Product Owner episode. See you tomorrow.